Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world, wherever you are watching this video. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing okay. So this week we are going to be looking at multiple things. There hasn't been a huge amount really of notable sort of fights or anything like that going on. There has been a few campaigns going on in nullsec, which we are going to dive into. There's been some very expensive kill mails, and there has been a very rare ship that has been destroyed. And we're going to look into those very quickly now. We're going to flip over to Zkill and we're going to have a look at the soft campaigns, and we're going to see what else is going on in the world. But guys, if you are new to the channel, welcome. First of all, welcome in. I am Galaxier, and I am doing EVE news all around the galaxy, whether it's high set, low set, null sec, or wormholes. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Right, first and foremost, this last 7 days on Zkill, so pretty much the end of the weekly news, we have had many muchos explosions. Yeah, okay. So we've had a couple Titans have died. I was unable to get in touch with them, reach out to them to find out exactly what went on with them. I did a video on that, which will be at the top of the screen for you right now. That is also linked into the Brave Collective in Black Rise got caught by snuffed out. Not 100% sure what happened with that one. Looks like, let's have a quick look. Looks like he might have just been moving it, and he got caught out by snuffed out with 1, 2, 3 3 faction super carriers, so 2 revenants and a vendetta, which is pretty much, and a vanquisher, nice, which is basically where these things are king, because they very rarely get caught in low sec unless someone's been very silly with it. So that was caught, obviously. Where was he caught? He was at moon 4, so he could have been out at a station or at a pause, and he got caught with his pants down, unfortunately. So we'll move on to the first Titan, which is this one, Iridia. Now, I've had a look at this on the map, and if we just go over to my other account here, Iridia, I believe, so it's dead end system. Let's zoom all the way in here, and if we just take another quick look at where it was a Stargate 1.7 AU from the Isid Stargate, which is here. So could be around here. Could have been at a safe spot. Could have been logged off in a safe spot for long periods of time, or that's where it was just logged off safe. It could have been left there a very long time ago. Don't know, and I haven't been able to get in touch with them, so I haven't been able to look up to exactly what happened with that one. But it looks like the Schlupens did it again. They and PL seems PL are hunting around those areas. I mean, PL now have. It seems like PL are going back to their roots of just being all over low sec and null sec in not massive groups, but involved in lots of little different Black Ops groups, which is kind of what PL was good at a long time ago, bar dropping supers on absolutely everything before everyone got supers, and it kind of came harder to do that. And move on to this one. So again, this is someone that I tried to reach out to, but have not been able to get in touch with them. So this is in the Citadel, and looks like, again, probably at a safe spot somewhere, logged off and then logged back in. It looks like a jump port generator's fitted and a click. Yeah, it could have been like an ult of someone's. Let's have a look, see what they were been killing. Looks like an ex-goon, actually. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, X-Initiative. Okay. X-Initiative pilot. And the last time they were on was 2021. And then they've obviously moved it up here for some reason, and they got caught by snuffed out. Don't know where they were going with it, but they were ex-init. So it could have been an ult of inits that was just logging it on and use it to bridge out into fraternity space or around low sec and just drop on people. And then it essentially got caught out by snuffed out. I don't know. But that's quite a chunky loss there. Not a bad fit. Still got quite a lot on there, yeah. So let's Let's move on to this Dagon. Now, the Dagon is a Capital Force Auxiliary. If you don't know what the Dagon is, it's a Blood Raider version of the Apostle, where it has really, really good bonuses to the Nosferatus on it. It's basically like a Capital Balgorn, essentially. Very, very good tank on them when you fit it right. And also very good. Basically, you can have your... you can obviously still have a cap booster and whatnot, but you can also have a couple Capital Nosferatus in there, and it will keep pulling power out of anything near it and capping them out, essentially. So they are really, really good. Not good in big fleet battles because they just get primaried because of how expensive they are. But for small stuff, and especially wormholes, like the Loggerhead, which is the Gurustus faction force auxiliary, these are really, really, really good in wormholes because they're they're not hard to counter, but they are a huge force multiplier just because of that bonus to Nosses, and they are just very, very, very good ships. So that was lost, and that was near the sun for whatever reason. That could have been it could have been intentional, or they could have just been moving because it looks like an absolutely horrendous partially fit thing. I don't think that was meant to... it could have been intentional, but at the same time, I don't think it was. But, I could be wrong on that one, and quite often I am. So I'm going to probably cautiously say that was intentional, but again, you never know. And the reason I'm looking at that in particular is because this is the fourth one that has ever been lost. Now, I believe these have been in the game for... oh, God, I believe they've been in the game for about between 8 and 12 years. So 4 of them died in that period of time is kind of crazy. Because if we have a look at the Loggerhead as well, I think Loggerheads get used a bit more. Nope, only 4 of them have died as well. And Delve... oh, I remember that. I remember when that one got caught out. Ethereum Reach, yep. Wormholes, yeah, I remember seeing that one. And then I remember seeing this one as well. This was, again, Officer Fit faction Force Auxiliary. Again, Force Auxiliaries, the Loggerheads like that has fighters on it, so it is really it's like a small carrier with insane reps and an insane tank. But yeah, these faction Force Auxiliaries, they are very rarely used. So to see one die is quite newsworthy actually, because no one really ever brings them out that often because of just how rare they are. I mean, 2 of them have died this year. When was the other one? This was before we were doing these news reports. So that was someone dropped it into a Dread Brawl. That is ballsy. I'll give you that. That is ballsy. But what is that? I think that is possibly one of the worst fits I've ever seen. That was being used as a Balgorn. Yeah, that was being used as a Balgorn. That is it. A shield tank. That's insane. Wow. Okay. Well, don't fit them like this because they die very, very quickly. Now, next one I wanted to look at was the new strategy for ganking in high sec is emerging. It is getting quite popular. It's happened this way multiple times. Now, I will say it is a very expensive way to gank something, but for the much fewer accounts that you are using, it's more cost effective. So the way to look at it is, I mean, there are multiple ways to look at this. So we'll very quickly break this down before we move on to the SOV and all that sort of stuff that's going on. So a Cenotaph is about 900 million ISK, roughly, for one Cenotaph. So that's 918.27, 2.7 billion to kill this freighter. I think what was dropped was probably not really worth doing, but it kind of like proven a point that it can be done. And essentially, you've got to weigh up. So you've got 3 Cenotaphs, which is 3 Omega accounts at 900 million apiece, and all they really need is the dot launcher, breacher pod launcher. That is it. That's all they need on there. They don't need any tank, so it is that and the pod launcher. That's it. And if you are using catalysts, you will probably need 20, 25 accounts, maybe 15, depending if you're in a 0.5. and you will kill it. But for 3 accounts instead of 15 to 20, it does work out cheaper side on the Omega side of things. And I would say per gank, if you're using 15 accounts versus 3, it's going to be a lot cheaper to run 3 cenotaphs doing this. Now, how this works is you have one person bumping the freighter, so in a Mercurial or something like that, bumping it out of alignment so it can't warp. First person scrams it with the cenotaph, applies the dot. Now that dot is damage over time, so I think it's 1 minute or just over a minute if you've got really good skills, and that will do a percentage based damage. That it doesn't matter about your resistances, it will do a percentage based damage. Then once the dot, well, obviously that then gets blown up by Concord, so the next one gets right up to the freighter, waits for the dot to stop, so the damage from the first one to stop, and then they fire it. Then that's another dot damage over time. And as you can see, 161,000 damage for all 3. Basically, you take it in turns with a cenotaph. One applies a dot, he gets ganked. Then you patiently wait while you're keeping it bumped and out so it can't warp. Then you apply the other one, which again, the next one is damage over time. That one gets ganked, and then the third one comes and does the exact same thing. So as you can see, they didn't get the full damage potential out of that cenotaph because the other 2 did pretty much all the damage. So this could be a really cheap way to. I would like to know how many of these it would take to gank a bulkhead fitted jump freighter. I think you're probably talking about 7, 8, or 9, 7, 8, or 9 cenotaphs to do a bulkhead jump freighter. I don't think there has been any. Shall we have a quick look? Let's have a quick look to see if there's been any. Okay, 3. Well, that was in low sec. Tribute, low set. 11 billion. Oh, that's got hurt. I didn't even see that one. That's got hurt. Caldari Police. Oh, that is horrendous. Especially when he's carrying what? I wasn't carrying anything. It was just empty. Wow, 27 billion. What was the that was Synergy of Steel, wasn't it? Yeah, pure blind. So I don't think any jump freighters have died to this tactic yet, which would be interesting to see just how many cenotaphs it would take to do the damage. But I think there's a new tactic that's coming out with that, and so it might well get more common because to gank any freighter or jump freighter, it's X number of cenotaphs, regardless of, and you know. I know catalysts and oracles are a lot cheaper, but it's less Omega accounts with a cenotaph, so you know it could be a new tactic for more expensive ganking. Now this super carrier, this was involved in the that's what you call it, Barbaroga Lost Mail. Now this is what Brave Collective call Pirate Day. I've been informed as the video I did on it before. Pirate Day, where they do basically a big free-for-all, mainly at the Sun in their capital system, and everyone and anyone can get involved. So all blues and anyone's invited, basically. Like Proteus from these guys, I don't think they were invited, but these guys are, especially Lord Road, they're just kill my whores. So he probably went around tagging everything once because Z-kill matters. But these essentially are a free-for-all, and it is everyone versus everyone. That's what a free-for-all is, obviously. And these are every 19th of the September every year in the capital system, wherever Brave is. So if you do want to attend the next one, you know, you are probably going to be more than welcome, and you'll probably die. But look, there was lots of capitals that would die in. There was that 100 billion-isk Barbaroga, Lost Mail. Where is he? I did watch a very brief video of that Barbaroga, and he was tanking until the Dreadnoughts came in. He was tanking, but the reason he was so expensive because he had loads of Plex in his, apart from the officer mods, of course, but he had Plex in his cargo as like a celebration. So it looks like just under half, well, not just under half, but a little under half of that Plex dropped, which is cool, which is nice for someone to grab. But that was Pirate Day, and that happens in Brave Space, wherever they are, and that's what this big, this big brawl here is about, and that's where the super carrier came in, because someone fed a super carrier to it. Because why not? And that was a properly fit super carrier as well. Good on him. As long as you're having fun, doesn't matter. Right, so now that we've got Z-Kill out of the way, we have looked at all what we are going to look on there. We are now going to dive into sub campaigns. So we've got some in Aquarius, which we're going to look at in a second. And we've got some in Outer Passage in Cache. So that's Delve, Aquarius, Conflict, and then this is Horde and Goons space, apart from Aquarius there. So let's have a look at Aquarius first. So Aquarius has been sub-wanded. A lot of this has been sub-wanded and is in the process of... There's a bit of a back and forth going on at the minute. So these guys, the old school, I believe they're part of Phoenix Coalition, I think. There's so many new names constantly popping into this. Yeah, so there's so many little smaller groups popping into this. It's hard to... I need to get a new ad blocker. And there's a lot of new groups adding into this. So it's hard to keep track of exactly what's going on. Delve is pretty much secure. Delve is pretty much secure now. They've all fully moved all down here, so this is all fully populated by Phoenix Coalition. Then the Phoenix Coalition are now going to start the war pushing in up here into Aquarius, and it's going to be... I think there's going to be a lot of fighting going on around here, because I don't think Only Fleets are going to want to just roll over and let Synergy of Steel take all their space off them. Go. Synergy of Steel take all their space off them, and then obviously they're going to be getting pushed from Legion of X-Death down here as well, so they're going to get sandwiched in there, which it'll be interesting to see what happens here going forward. But I think at the minute, there's I said in the last video, there's a lot of poking and prodding at sub space and stuff like that to see what kind of responses you're getting, and it's obviously what's starting to happen now. You can't do much here because you can, but it's incursion space, so got to be a bit careful with the fleets on the gates there, because incursion rats do not mess about. Right, let's move from Aquarius then. So we're now moving over to Outer Passage, which did have some of these up here reinforced, but they have been I think again it was poking and prodding. Horde have been doing it into Goon's base, where they've just been going to the back lines and then reinforcing a load of systems in our back lines. So let's have a look over here. So this is Goon's base here, and this is Horde space. What Horde have been doing is bringing interceptors through and then coming to places back in Scalding Pass, Detorid, Immensia, and then just reinforcing the odd node here and there. So it just causes us to go and actually reinforce it back. Not reinforce it back, Intosis it back. So I think what's been happening is our guys have been returning the favour and doing the same thing here. So you notice that system that was on Shadow Ultimatum has been, Intosis back. Has been Intosis back to those guys. Then this will happen up here again. I think it's more testing responses and what's going on and what their response to it is. Now in Cache, we did look at this last time. Where this was under Intosis and reinforced. Now it looks like we're taking these entry systems to Horde space, which will give us easy access into their space, because then we can put jump bridge networks all the way from our capital to these areas, because it is only... Well, we've already got it, pretty much. So look, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 jumps, or 9 jumps, whatever. And we're in the very back lines of Horde space. We're all the way out the back here. And this is the beauty with Cache. Once you get into here, you can just enter Horde space wherever you want. I mean, if you really want to go on the top down, and you're at the back of Cobalt Edge, which is miles away from their capital system here. Miles away. I know they've obviously got a lot of jump bridges, which will make travelling easier, but it means out of their capital range. So they can't just drop supers and dreads on everything, which has happened. I mean, we've returned the favor when they come over here. That's just how it works. You come into our space with a big fleet, you're probably going to get dropped with dreads and carriers and stuff like that. It's how it works. They do it, we do it, everyone does it. It is what it is. But finally taking the rest of the systems in cache and just sealing that up and holding it will be kind of a key moment, because then once we've essentially pushed these systems back and we can get Fortizars with new jump bridges to them, so we can have that one to there, we can have maybe one to there and one to there, and it opens up a lot of avenues of future content being able to get into Horde's back lines very, very quickly without little to no resistance, as it's getting back there where out of capital range and out of a very, very quick response range is kind of cool. It's kind of really good to be able to do, especially how they don't have much infrastructure up here, where I believe that might be their rental spot. Let's see who's actually in Cobalt Edge. I haven't even looked in a long time. It is all Horde space naturally, so I think that's possibly going to be. Is it even being used? Jumps. It's been used. Okay, it is being used. So it is definitely being used. Let's have a look at NPC kills. Not much though. It is not being used that much. Let's have a look at security. Okay, this up here goes right to Tenal, and up there is really good true sec systems where you'd want to set up your ratting, but there's nothing. No ratting. Okay, there's a little bit, but it's not very active, and I suspect it might well be just smaller groups. Yeah, it might just be smaller groups that are living up there. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but essentially these soft campaigns are going to get resolved in the next couple of days. Fraternity have gained a lot more space. So as I said in the last video, Pure Blind was getting handed over to them, and it pretty much is now. So you got Fraternity. All these systems are still yet to go. So obviously bear in mind that they are going to be getting those and those as well, which will put Fraternity up to... It'll put them up to nearly 400 systems once they take all of that, which is quite a lot of systems, really. 400 solar systems for your alliance. It is quite a lot. Not even gonna mess around. That is quite a lot of solar systems when you compare it to. Yeah, so when you have a look at here, so you've got Pandemic Horde with 413 systems, Goon Swarm with 437 systems, and Fraternity with 407 systems. So that will probably put them on top of, on par with Horde and Goons on how many they have, which, is a lot of systems. These alliances like Goon Swarm, Horde, and Fraternity, they do own a hell of a lot of solar systems, these three alliances. So I mean, personally, I don't like the fact, I don't like how big groups are in the game. I believe there is much to be done about the state of the sprawl that the coalitions are taking up. I know Goons, we've taken over this here. Yes, there's a lot of soul systems in there. There's not many in there. Don't have anything to do with Stain. Catch is owned, half of it's owned by other people. And, it's... So the sprawl is not something that can be easily controlled, unfortunately, because it's just the way the game mechanics are at the minute. They promote big, massive groups to bunch together into a coalition and defend all the space under one big flag. That's the way they are. And lastly, just before we do close out the video, that alliance that I spoke of, Dawn's Light, they had 2,600 people join. Then they had 2,600 people leave. So I don't think that alliance is going to be doing much anymore. But we will see. It was nice to see that it could possibly have been an alliance that was could have been forming, or could have been made up into a something that could have put out some really good fleets and, you know, content for everyone, but that wasn't to be, unfortunately. But guys, that is this week's war, and there hasn't been, as I said, there hasn't been a huge amount of stuff going on as in high sec and low sec and null sec. There very rarely is stuff that goes on in high sec, to be honest. It's more people trying out the game and doing missions and incursions and stuff like mining and stuff like that. There's not really huge amounts of drama that ever happen in high sec, apart from suicide ganking, which is fun. And again, I'm waiting for people to get back to me about some wormhole stuff. So hopefully next week we'll have a more wormhole focused news report, because that would be really cool. I'd really like to dive into that. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.